Hello guys, welcome to Redditor's Revenge. Here we post amazing revenge stories daily. And if you want more content like this, please do subscribe to the channel and stay tuned with us. Moving on to our today's first story. This one needs the background to fully understand why I went out of my way for this revenge. My best friend was married for 10 years, with his ex for a total of 13 years. He was absolutely head over heels in love with her, as I had never seen before, which I never understood due to her alcohol abuse. She would take it out on him, and when he'd be venting about it, he'd always fall back on, "It's not her, it's the illness," a very respectable and admirable stance on it. Last year she asked for a divorce because, after years of what I would call abuse, he had simply run out of gas, her reasoning for asking for one. When she got fired for testing positive for weed, he wasn't empathetic enough. He admits he wasn't because it had come on the back of one of her drunken tirades, where she told him he was a piece of shit who was always trying to control her, when all he ever tried to get her away from was booze for the way she treated him when she was drunk. It took him forever to move on from this, with the divorce following shortly after, and earlier this year, after thinking he was moving on, he calls me to come over and he was in a bad way. I arrive and he absolutely falls down the level of drunk, going on that she didn't ask for a divorce for the reasons that she had really been cheating with several other people. The next morning, when he's more coherent, I ask him how he knew. He was cleaning out the spare room and selling, donating stuff he didn't need anymore, and when he went to clear an old tablet, she was still logged on and all of the evidence was there. He gets that out and says he's going back to bed and asks me to lock up when I leave. Before I left, I looked at the tablet. After seeing what I saw, I wanted to find a way to get even with the horrible and conniving woman, so I took pictures of it all and left. When I got home, I started looking up information about these people. Two of them were just normal guys. Whether they knew she was married or not, I don't know. But the third? Well, the third comes up as a registered sex offender, still on probation for being such a disgusting pile of shit, and the address listed is 123 Lanes, City, State. Chomo knew that she was married. I immediately knew what I was gonna do. Chomo didn't live at 123 Lanes. Chomo was living with the conniving ex. She made regular posts about their time together, on top of that she is an avid weed user and has several firearms because she enjoys sports shooting. So I go into the state's sex offender site and make a report of Chomo not actually living where he's registered, and that Chomo is living in a home with what he has no right to, being a convicted felon and on parole. I include screenshots of the social media posts and all to back them up. I was thinking little would happen but an inconvenience to their lives. Oh boy, was I wrong. She broke her typical posts with nothing serious trend on social media yesterday. With this gem, my year can't get any worse. Chomo lost his job and I am now facing eviction because I can't afford my rent. So I go on the state court system site to see if it's related. And yes, it was. Chomo was rearrested. She clearly can't post bail or Chomo would be out. The job she took after being fired definitely can't support her lifestyle, so he's probably going back to prison or at least jail, and she's a breath away from being homeless. I don't know if I'd ever tell my best friend I was the one behind this, but he is definitely ecstatic to see a horrible woman and sewer rat get what they deserve. Part of me wants to put up the sex offender registration link, and that it's sitting in jail, and say something to the effect of it's a little more than losing a job, but not want to make my best friend's life harder. I'll just let a sleeping dog lie. Now, here is the end of our first story, and I hope you guys enjoyed this revenge story. So before moving to the next story, you guys can share your thought in the comments section about this story, and do you think we all need a friend like OP, who support us in our worst phase? Also hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay tuned with us for more satisfying revenge stories.
Moving to our second story. I'm a 19F. The person I got revenge against is 20F. Let's call her Bella. Other important characters would be Sarah, also 19F, one of Bella's victims, Karen, Bella's mother, and finally Mom, my mother. So Bella was with me and Sarah in primary school. Elementary school, she was a massive bully. My mom was friends with her mother, Karen, because they picked us up, along with Sarah's mother. She bullied me every single time. Verbal bullying had become a norm, and she hurt me every single time. My mom wouldn't believe me because she thought Bella was an angel, which she still does, all because she paid attention to classes and did her homework, and I thought it was loads of BS. It wasn't that I wasn't bright, I couldn't comprehend the concept of homework and punishing someone for not doing it. Because Bella was a ducking golden child that my mother wanted me to be. She hit me multiple times, and apart from my third grade teacher, none of the teachers did anything to stop it. My fourth grade teacher was an even bigger bully than Bella, but let's not stray away from the topic. She even slammed a metal tiffin box in my head, and no one did anything. Sarah was in her friend group, and I say that in quotes cause she was bullied too, just not bad as I got. My high school was a school for gifted students, and selected only 80 students each year, 40 male and 40 female. They had entrance tests which were a mix of IQ tests and personality tests. They believed in Gardner's intelligence theory. I have many objections and apprehensions about my high school. I got in, but Bella didn't. So when Karen knew that I got in and her golden child didn't, she went and fought with my high school principal that they let in someone as worthless as I am, and didn't let her golden angel in. Thankfully, as the contact with her was severed, so was bullying. She still kept making mean comments, but no one cared now. I am a forgiving person, so I was willing to put it all behind me. And then she attempted to spread a rumor about me dating someone, and I had my phone privileges taken away till my parents found nothing on my phone. She was scolded a little this time, but nearly not enough as I nor my reputation, so I did not have a good opinion of her. Now Karen is an insurance agent, so she sucked up to my mom, who thought that Bella is a golden swan. I had by now lost contact with Sarah. At one of our mutual friends' parties, I met her again. Apparently, Sarah, who was lesbian, had come out to Bella, confiding in her. Bella told this to anyone and everyone who would meet them and made her life hell. To this day, Sarah is still traumatized by what happened. I'm bisexual, so I invited her to one of our community outings and told her that she would be loved and accepted by me and some of our mutual friends who are excellent allies. The tears she had after hearing this made me seethe, and I do not seethe constantly. Bella was still circulating this helpful information to anyone that came in contact with Sarah on social media, and told Karen. When I asked my mother, she told me that yes, Karen had told her, and she was aghast with her method. Karen had apparently told her Sarah was lesbian in a way that it'd appear that she was a serial killer or shit. And then, Karen, in one of my encounters with her, revealed that Bella's med school was holding an event where the friends of students were invited to share the golden memories they had, and if those friends saw them becoming a doctor. I saw this opportunity and grabbed it. I contacted Sarah and asked her if Bella had any other victims. So with collective effort, we found 20. We made a video that was going to surprise her, as we told Karen. We virtually attended the event. That video contained evidence and stories of Bella's victims. And when the recounting of our tales stopped, I asked everyone if they thought she'd be a doctor. Almost everyone said yes. I asked her if she should be one. The silence that followed was so impactful. Apparently, she had done that when she was in med school, and an investigation was launched. They found out that she had bullied people in med school too. So now she's been expelled, and Sarah and her other victims are enrolled in college and living our life peacefully. Now, here is the end of our second story, and guys, I want to hear your thought about this story in the comments section. And in my opinion, OP's dad did a great job by teaching the Ahola hard lesson. And, before you move to the final story, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to remain updated on more fantastic stories.
Now, moving on to our final story. In late May 2016, I asked my crush Kate of 3 years out on a coffee date. 3 dates later, we made things official. For the next 7 months, our relationship felt too good to be true. We clicked on so many interests, so we hardly ever disagreed on anything. We were very open with each other, which led to an incredible intimate life. We both had good jobs, so we had money to spoil one another, and our families were both enthusiastic about our relationship. In January 2017, I was accepted into my country's Armed Forces Reserve program as a combat engineer. I underwent basic training from February to late April, and was up until then the hardest thing I had ever done. There were several times I thought I wouldn't graduate, and the only thing that kept me going was Kate's words of encouragement over texts and calls. She was there when I received my BTC certificate, and never let me forget how proud she was of me. As part of my job in the reserves, I would have to go away in the summer for advanced training, between early June to late August. Kate fully supported me in going 400 kilometers away to the training center and spending almost our entire summer break on work to further my military career. The summer was brutal on me. I was a social outcast from every clique that formed on our course and was the butt of several jokes. My self-esteem plummeted through the floor, but Kate's belief in me was what made me prevail. I passed as 5th best on the course, and I owed it all to her. The decline. Things between us started to sour after returning home. According to her, I wasn't as spontaneous and outgoing as before I went away. I was dismissive, took small jabs and jokes as personal insults, and would rather stay in, watch movies, and have sex instead of going out. Unbeknownst to both of us, I had developed some nasty social anxiety due to the events of the summer, and it started affecting our relationship. During our second anniversary in 2018, we got into a heated argument over a small misunderstanding, and subsequently broke up. I was incredibly distraught before she texted me 3 days later and said she wanted to try and fix things. I didn't see her for 3 weeks, but we kept in touch every day, slowly mending things. When we officially got back together, nothing felt the same. Every time I talked with her, it was as if I was walking on eggshells, and it only worsened my anxiety, which in turn hurt our already damaged relationship. Then things finally came to a head at the end of July. The hurt. While in school, Kate met a dude named John. She saw in John what she used to see in me, and they quickly became very close friends. He consoled her through our breakup and every little time I messed up afterward. For the record, I knew of John but never thought Kate would ever do anything with him. One night after work, we had planned for me to stay the night at Kate's place. I arrived to see the two of them chilling on the living room couch. Kate said that John had dropped by for a spontaneous visit, and he was just leaving. After John left, she became cold and distant. I slowly accepted that our relationship was dead and asked her how things were between us. She echoed my thoughts, and we agreed to break up the next day. She said I could stay the night one last time, seeing how it was late and she was still worried about me. From there on until she fell asleep, Kate became uncharacteristically glued to and protective of her phone. In the past, she wouldn't care if I had glanced over to catch her and her friends texting about whatever, but now she did her best to hide the screen from me. I asked her about it, and she said it was private stuff, which only raised more questions. After she fell asleep, curiosity got the better of me. I unlocked her phone and found hundreds of messages between her and John. Messages about how she was now single, how exciting it was that they could now be a couple in public, and laughing at me about every little thing I did. I quietly sobbed as I read through each hurtful text. My crying wasn't as quiet as I thought. Kate stirred, and once she realized what I was doing, she threw a fit. I couldn't find the anger or words to combat her, so I just grabbed my stuff and left, with Kate shouting and yelling at me the whole time. It was late in the morning when I got home. I just broke down and ugly cried all night. I called in sick from work the next day and spent it sulking in my bed. The day after, I got several angry texts from Kate's friends and family. In a bid to save her image and denounce anything I might say about her, she told anyone she knew that I had forced myself upon her that night in one last attempt to get some before we broke up, and left after the deed was done. Though what I had done was scarring, she refused to press charges because she didn't want to make a circus of her life in court, and was the bigger person by doing so. I spent the next few months in fear that her allegation would have me discharged from the army and my image forever tarnished. But nothing ever happened. The revenge. 5 months afterward, Kate DM'd me. After pleasantries, she basically apologized for the whole thing and actually admitted to faking it, though she would never publicly admit it to save her own reputation. My image be damned. This angered me, but I kept cool. I screenshot the texts and continued talking with her. Over the next 3 months, she entered into a cycle of events as follows. Complain about a current life situation, usually about John screwing up in their relationship in one way or another, and asking for advice. Lamenting our relationship, how I never screwed up as John did, how she wished we could go back to the way things were, blah blah blah. Ignoring me because John finally pulled his head out of his ass, did some huge romantic gesture, and saved their relationship. Going on a smear campaign on social media about our relationship, employing her friends for help, knowing in full that I would see it all, and trying to bait me into an argument. It would work. She would try to turn the argument around and paint me as the bad guy, and then block me for about a month, before repeating the cycle. This happened 3 times like clockwork, and always left me burnt out and broken. But a part of me wanted it to happen. Each time it did, I took screenshots of every damning thing she said. I had a full SD card of everything I compiled before I finally decided it was time. Making several picture copies of the worst text messages I caught, I bought several manila envelopes and mailed them to everyone I thought would matter to Kate, her parents, grandparents, the extended family she was super close with, best friends, work boss, co-workers, teachers, whoever I could find a mailing address for. I made sure that anyone getting the envelope would know that the texts were between me and Kate, and sent them off. Within 3 weeks, I got results. Some of the people who messaged me to shame and insult me before now apologized for their words. My favorite was from her own parents, who went on to say that they were deeply sorry about their daughter's behavior, how they raised her to be better than how she acted, and to please not pursue any legal actions. The thought had crossed my mind, but I didn't have the money nor the mental fortitude to fight a legal battle. I told them I'd think about it, and that they'd be the first to know besides Kate if I did. Kate sent me some texts as well, with things like "How could you betray my trust like that?" or "You ruined my life, you bastard." I didn't reply. I just read every angry text that flew in with a satisfied grin and then blocked her when they stopped. I never fully found out how bad her life was affected by my revenge, but I do know that she dropped out of school and no longer has a job. I hope John was worth it. Now, here is the end of our second story. Guys, I want to hear your thought about this story in the comments section. And before you leave to the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to remain updated on more fantastic stories.